It's the Palit GeForce 9800 GTX. It's a happy frog. I always talk about the darn frog, but I just noticed it's smiling. It's like happy to I can't say violent things, but it's very happy to do random acts of violence on frame rates. See how I saved that there? Now this one is stock clock, meaning it runs at 675 megahertz. And this card, it's next generation. It's PCI Express 2.0. And the thing I really like about this is the price to performance ratio. It's insanity. So that's what they market on the, it's not on the box. It should be. It should be on the box, right there on the front. Because in this price range, it's just about ridiculous. Now it also has 512 megabytes of GDDR3 running at 2200 megahertz. And what else does it have? Looking at my notes so you guys can make fun of me on YouTube. Don't look at your notes, man. The shader clock, 1688. Now go ahead and make fun of me for looking at my notes. Do it. Do it! Or I'll come to your house and make fun of myself through you. God, that's weird. All right, let's talk about benchmarks. That's all you really watch these videos for, is to see how fast it is. I know. Crysis 1920 by 1200, running on very high. The 9800 GTX, 20 frames a second. The GX2 is at 29 frames a second, and the 3870 X2 from ATI is at 21 frames a second. Enemy territory, Quake Wars. Average game, in my opinion. All right, the GTX that I'm holding in my hand, 54 frames a second. GX2 is at 53.6 frames a second. Beat it by 0.4 frames a second. I root for the underdog. This one's the underdog because it's less expensive. That makes it the underdog. Beat it by 0.4 frames a second. Way to go. 3870 X2, 51 frames a second. 8800 GT, for reference, it's a single slot card, 44 frames a second. Okay, now I know a lot of you guys are thinking about Tri-SLI. That's one of the huge benefits of this card. Look at that swivel. Man, it took years of practice. You can use 3 of these in a system, which is awesome. Because most of the new NVIDIA cards, you can only use 2 in a system, like the GX2. You can use 2 of those. 8800 GT, you can only use 2 of those. You can use 3 of these. And then you can brag. And then you can yell and scream when your system's faster than everyone else's. Your system's going to be yelling and screaming. All right, now let's talk about the benchmarks with 3 of these versus 2 of the 9800 GX2s. In Crysis, 2 9800 GX2s are 34 frames a second. 3 of these are 50 frames a second. So there you go. Now you know, and the more you know. Rainbow just went by. What else is nice about this? There's a frog on it, and it's smiling. We should end on this frog. It's awesome. The only card out there with a frog. If you haven't heard of Palit, let me clear some things up. Now, Palit, they're very big overseas, and I'm glad they're here because a lot of their products are very innovative. They always add something cool. Now let's cover what's on this card. You need 2 6-pin PCI Express connectors. Right there they are to power this thing. Uses far less power than the this one uses far less power than the 9800 GX2. Also in the front here we have a dual link DVI 2560 by 1600 and an S video spot right there. In the box we have a DVI to VGA connector, so you can plug up your VGA monitor. This is also in the box, a breakaway that'll give us component and composite there. Now through the component we can get 1080i over to your TV. So you can do that. Or it has to be an HD TV, of course, to get 1080i. Because 1080i is HD. What else is in the box? Well, this is in the box too. Hanging out with Lara Croft all day. She's real in my mind. This comes in the box. It's kind of cool. Anniversary edition. I actually had a lot of fun with this game. So it's nice. Something different to include. And it's for a limited time while supplies last. If it's not in the box, you should have read the description. This is 9800 GTX from Palit, and it's fast. For more information about the Palit 9800 GTX, go to compusa.com and type P458-9802 into the search box. Or call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1-800-COMPUSA.